everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Robin, or Hobbit's Reading List, and today we are going to figure out what I will be reading in September, and also acknowledging that August was a very rough month. So let's see what happens. So August was very unlucky. On my August TBR, I ended up getting 3 very large books. I did read 2 of them, but that pretty much destroyed my will entirely. It was just so much, and there are 2 books from August that I have to read. So I will be reading those the first week of September, which was what I didn't want to do. I'm going to try to get them into the game. Just to be a little bit nicer to myself. But otherwise, it's the same old game. If you're new here, I play TBR Pursuit, which is a spin on Trivial Pursuit. It uses the Lord of the Rings Trivial Pursuit board. Each color represents a different genre. The 6 most popular genres on my shelves, on my physical TBR, are represented, and they are LGBTQ, fantasy, romance, classic, psychology, and Jewish. Now, the bigger spots at the end of the spoke represent Miscellaneous, so that accounts for all the other books that are on my physical TBR because I am somewhat eclectic. I also have an option to add a book, which is the purple roll again spots. I will probably try to avoid those. I also, because August was a very rough month, I do have a consequence book. My dad already picked it out for me. We will talk about that at the end of the video. I typically roll 7 times, unless I get a roll again, and that adds another roll. And so I should get 7 or more books. Again, I will be trying to get 2 of them on on the game because I'm scared after August and I want to be nice to myself, so I may also aim for short books. Sorry. So let's just get ready and get into it and see if the gods of TBR are going to be nice to me today. Probably not. Okay, so because there are 3 books, 2 from last month, that I'm trying to get on the TBR game, I'm going to do something risky and go for classics first, and this might bite me in the butt. 3. So classic is red, so I'll go this way. My lowest rated classic, which does not bode well for either of the books. For a classic that is my lowest rated, this didn't help me at all. I got Henry Miller's Quiet Days in, I don't know how to pronounce that. I want to say Clichy, but I feel like that's not right. And The World of Sex. If anyone knows how to pronounce that word, let me know. Leave me a comment spelling it phonetically. These are short novels by Henry Miller. One is very nostalgic about his time in Paris, and then the other one is sort of just like speculations on sex. This was rated a 3-star on Storygraph, so that apparently is my lowest rated classic, which is pretty good, and it's short, so that's nice. I'm kind of worried, though. So we'll see. But it is... Well, that can't be right. It says it's 147 pages. Oh, I guess that's right. Okay, cool. 1, just psychology or fantasy. I really don't want to do a nonfiction, so I'm going to do fantasy. This is not looking good for me. Okay, this is kind of nice. A fantasy that has summer vibes, which is not... One isn't coming top of my head, so this will be interesting. For a fantasy book that has summer vibes, which is perfect because we're hitting the tail end of summer, I picked up The Honey Witch by Sydney J. Shields. This literally, I think, takes place in summer. It says, the little itty bitty thing that's supposed to grab your attention, it says, the Honey Witch is cursed to never find true love, but when she meets a young woman who doesn't believe in magic, she dares to hope for more. So this is a sapphic love story, which also features one of the main characters, Marigold, being trained as a honey witch, but as the little tagline said, a honey witch can never find true love. But someone comes along, her name is Lottie. She's a skeptic, and Marigold is for some reason determined to convince her that magic is real, even though they are probably falling for each other. Storycraft had this as like a cozy fantasy, perfect for summer, so awesome. Plus the cover is just so cute. I love that. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 is Miscellaneous, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Or I could go for the second spoke, so I could aim for another classic. You know what, classic or Miscellaneous? Classic or Miscellaneous? I'm gonna do Miscellaneous. Oh, okay, this might work. Generated random color on the cover. So I will use a random color generator to pick this. So this might work, actually. Okay, for a book that has a random color on the cover, the color generator that I used came up with yellow-orange, which was just perfect. Because I got milk-fed. This is yellow-orange. Like, is it yellow? Is it orange? I don't know. It's both. Milk-fed is about a woman, Rachel, who is a lapsed Jew who has an eating disorder. And she ends up meeting another woman, Miriam, who is Orthodox Jewish, who works at a frozen yogurt store and is determined to make Rachel eat. I know that this has a lot of conversations about religion, about eating disorders, about sex. I know it's sapphic. I also know that my friend Stephanie really loved it. And I have to read it for my Temple Book Club that I run. So this will be read very quickly. 1, which is going to be Jewish. Ooh, a Jewish book by a BIPOC author. Okay. And a Jewish book by a BIPOC author. I have Thank You for Sharing by Rachel Runya Katz. This is about 2 friends who were, really close in their childhood. They went to Jewish summer camp together, and then something happened that led to this big falling out, and they haven't seen each other for 20 years. Until they are randomly seated next to each other on a flight to, I believe, Chicago. Yep. Because one of them gets hired to represent the Chicago Museum. Oh, it's a marketing firm where the other person, Leah, works as a curator. And so they are put into situations where they're constantly forced together. Hopefully they clear up their differences and fall in love along the way. Okay. So 2 is classic or Jewish. So I'm going to go ahead and go for classic. Okay. Best cover. This is subjective. So, awesome. Okay. So, a classic book that has the best cover. I haven't talked about this a lot, but there are certain editions of Wodehouse books that I actually really love the covers. I think they're so funny. And I was looking at the different editions of The Adventures of Sally, and it had one of the covers that I really love the art style, and it's up here somewhere. But Adventures of Sally is about this woman, I think she's early 20s, who comes into an inheritance and has lots of adventures in that. If you've been watching my TBRs for a while, you know that like I don't look at the Wodehouse books. I go into them completely blind because they're for my podcast I do with my dad, and I think I just get better reactions that way. So that's really all I know about Adventures of Sally. So let's go to the next one. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So Miscellaneous, or 1, 2, 3, 4 to Jewish or Jewish. Let's go ahead and do Miscellaneous. Okay, a miscellaneous book that has buildings on the cover. A book with buildings on the cover. This is where people might start to be like, okay, come on, really? Because I picked Meeting Mr. Mulliner by Wodehouse, which is the book I have to read in September. Adventures of Sally I had to read in August. That went well. There is a building on the cover. I'm really hoping he's not climbing up a drain pipe, because that is a huge pet peeve of mine in Wodehouse books. It happens way too often. I don't think it's realistic. And so I'm really hoping he's not, but I think he is climbing up a drain pipe. I don't know anything about it besides that this is the beginning of a new series, that I haven't read any of the other books. This is a new character for me. My dad doesn't know how I'll like this Mr. Mulliner, so we'll see what's gonna happen there. And for what will likely be the last book, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, or 1, 2. Blue is LGBT, so I'm gonna aim for that instead of adding a book. An LGBT book that is a hardback. And finally, an LGBT book that is a hardcover. I don't have that many, honestly. Most of the books that I buy are paperback. But I do have Most Ardently by Gabe Cole Novoa? Novoa. Sorry. This is a queer retelling of Pride and Prejudice, and it features, I believe, Oliver? Yeah, Oliver is a trans man, and this is Regency era, so transgender people are relatively closeted, so he goes by Elizabeth, but he knows who he really is. And he goes and sneaks out as a man and goes about town, and that's where he can sort of be free. And he runs into Mr. Darcy, who had previously been very rude to Elizabeth at a social function. So reading that, I'm curious. I think Oliver sort of has to present a double life, where he gets to know Mr. Darcy as Oliver, but also as Elizabeth. So that'll be really interesting. This is young adult. I love Pride and Prejudice retellings, especially if they're queer. So I'm kind of excited about this, but I'm kind of nervous because it is young adult, but we shall see. So I managed to fit both the books from August that I didn't get to, as well as September's Wodehouse book, onto the TBR. I'm feeling much better now. I was really nervous that I was going to end up with like 11 books on my TBR because I couldn't fit any of them in. So I may have cheated a little bit, I may have fudged it a little bit, but it's my game, and I was very stressed, and now I feel better. So that's the most important thing. My final book is my consequence book, which is A Botanical Daughter by Noah Medlock. So this is a queer horror. I guess it's technically a queer, micellular horror, because it is about a fungus. So this takes place in Victorian England, where Simon and Gregor sort of hide away. They keep away. They only care about like their hobbies. Simon's hobby is like taxidermy art, and Gregor's is botany. And Gregor discovers this fungus that has intelligence, and he becomes determined to make like the most intelligent plant life, but it kind of goes not how he would want. So my dad, when he was looking at it, he looked at some reviews, and apparently a lot of people compared it sort of like Frankenstein-esque. When I first read it, I compared it to Little Shop of Horrors, but queer. So I'm excited. I have no idea what this is going to be like. It'll be really interesting. Yeah, I'm excited for that one. So those are the books I'm going to read in September. Like I said, I'm feeling a lot better now that I'm not, 11 books deep for the month. And I don't feel as bad about, like, the 2 books I didn't read in August, like, having to read those the first week in September, because now they're on my September TBR. So, hopefully you all understand why I did it that way. October will be more like, like that. If you have read any of these books or have interest in any of these books, leave me a comment. Let me know what sort of grabbed your attention. But otherwise, like the video, subscribe, click notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload a vlog, because that's how you can watch me read the books in real time. But I upload a weekly vlog where I talk about the books that I read that week, so that's like the most up-to-date information that you get. And otherwise, I will talk to you guys in the next video. Bye!